Have you figured out your niche? Are you helping adding value to other people's lives? Then you're in the right place. Welcome to Munira's Musings with your host, co-author of Conversations with Top Real Estate Investors Volume 3, Munira Zahabi.
Well, greetings from Chicagoland. This is Munira with another episode of Munira's Musings. Our guest today is Leah Thompson, all the way from Kentucky, USA. Hi, Leah. And I forgot the town. Louisville, did you say?
It's Louisville, yeah. Louisville.
I don't say it the way you say it. You've got a good accent, so. Well, welcome to the show. We are honored and humbled to have you here. Thank you so much. Before we dive in, you want to learn, if you are, everybody has ups and downs, and overwhelm and depression and some kind of activity that makes you worry. But you want to find yourself within that. And so our guest is going to take us through that today. But however, before we start, I know we all want to start, but before we just start there, I want to tell you a little bit about who I am and what this show is about. Munira's Musing is a show that came about because I became the niche navigator. And I realized that there's a lot of people, 67% of Americans plus people in the world are not happy doing what they are doing. And they just took whatever came to them and now they need to sit down and discover themselves. Or they are going through a life crisis, or it could be a life crisis, or they've been let go from a job. Any of these situations apply. But the thing is, now that when you want to start the next chapter of your life, you want to start with enough skills, enough tools in your bag where you can then navigate to what you want to do best, which makes you happy. So this is who I am. I'm Munira Zahabi. I live in Chicago, and I'm the niche navigator. But Munira's Musings came about because once I had my niche down, I realized that there's so many people around me who are niching it. And I say that not in a bad way, but niching it because everybody has found something that makes them happy. You hear a lot of collective terms where I'm a life coach, I'm a wellness coach. But within that, if you just sit in a room of wellness coaches, everybody is doing something similar but different. And that's where the niche is. And I realized that I needed to tap into the expertise of these people, one, and find out what is it that makes them tick, if you will. And that's how Munira's Musings came about. It started with one person. And I loved it, and I have met over 200. I do a show I try to do a show every day. Sometimes my guest cancels, sometimes I cancel, but we're flexible. But the awareness is there that there's a person out there who is doing something extraordinary and they found their niche. So without further ado, thank you, Leah, again. And, I'm very much excited because I read your profile and I said, she brings joy. I want to learn how to do that. I know that I'm not happy. People think I'm goofy too, but what is joy? And, so we'll go through that whole transition. But before we do, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you. I get very excited too. I'm a very excited person and I love to watch your show. So it's like super exciting for me to be on here with you. I'm Leah Bomar. I am a writer, an author, a speaker, and a coach. So I help women start to find joy out of the everyday life and the stressors that they're experiencing. So one of the things I do is host retreats for women to come there and start to figure out what their dreams are. And it was a major part of my journey getting here, doing what I'm doing today, was figuring out what made me happy right now, at this point in my life.
Okay. So tell us about what you do, right? And then what makes you tick, right? That's the word. today's word is take.
Well, what brings me joy and what makes me happy is writing. So that was something that I knew from a very young age as a kid. I enjoyed reading. I enjoyed writing. I went to college and, had a career in journalism. And I did all these things that I thought I was supposed to do. And I kind of got away from that, with becoming a parent. I have 3 small children. And I realized at one point that I was just extremely overwhelmed and stressed out by everyday life, by the daily runnings of a household, of getting the kids up and out to school, keeping up with the laundry, doing the dishes. It left very little time and energy for me. So I started this big personal journey, quest to figure out, what can I do to bring some excitement, smile, enjoyment back to my life? So I went through a series of questions, and that's some of the things we do on the retreat with women as they kind of start to do a self-evaluation on where they're at right now. Because I think a lot of people get caught up in just going to work or just having the career or doing the thing they think they're supposed to be doing, and it's not bringing them true joy. So for myself, that was the process was figuring out, well, what really truly makes you happy? And I knew that was writing. So that's what I started doing again, whether it be journaling or writing articles online or hosting classes, teaching other people how to write and inspiring them to start to ask themselves some of the same questions.
Okay, so you said things that you were supposed to do, right? You went to journalism school and then you were doing things that you think and you were supposed to do that. What were some of those things? I just need to know a little bit of your past, if you don't mind.
Well, actually, the journalism part was part of the dream. And that's something I kind of traded out and gave up on during college because, you hear the things, writers don't make any money, or, I felt like I would have to move away from home and go to a special school to get a special degree or, have some kind of fancy journalism job. So I actually went into teaching and education. So my degree and my career path was going to be a teacher. So I got a degree in English. I started teaching high school English, which was something I was really passionate about teaching. I loved working with kids, especially teenagers. But then when I got there and started doing it, it wasn't what I thought it was. It did not bring me joy, and I was not happy sitting there in the classroom. But that was something that, I felt like I had to pick a career. It was expected of you. You grow up and you go to college and, you kind of tick the things off the list, but it didn't make me happy. So eventually I was able to get another job where I could kind of start to travel the world a little bit. And I was still writing and creating content for that company. And that was exciting, but then the children came. Then the parenthood chapter started. So I left my career there, and I was a stay-at-home mom for the past, 7 years out of a decade. So I stayed home with my kids, and eventually we started homeschooling them. So I was still always kind of teaching in some aspect, but it finally got to the point where it was like, where's me? Where's Leah in all of this?
Okay, so then you found writing, and how did you become a coach? So take us through that journey, because now you've taken us through motherhood. Now you're here homeschooling your children, and then now you're looking at yourself in the mirror and saying, "Oh, I'm really happy." And am I, where is me? So then what happened? The reason I'm asking you is I don't want to put you on the spot, but there's women out there who've lost themselves. And this is a perfect opportunity for them to find themselves, right?
Yes.
So when did this realization happen? I mean, what was the trigger point? Lack of sleep?
Definitely lack of sleep. It's been a lack of sleep. It got to a point where that was just existence. A crazy amount of lack of sleep, exhaustion. I was physically unhealthy. I was starting to have trouble with my health. My energy was non-existent. I didn't have the energy to keep up with my kids like I wanted to. And, I've dealt with depression and anxiety in my life, a lot of anxiety, worrying, just this feeling of doom, that's what anxiety felt like to me. And, it could get to the point where I wouldn't even want to interact with people or, go anywhere or go to parties because it was so difficult for me to do that. And I'm a pretty social person. Like, I like people. I like interacting with people. So when it got to a point like that, where I was just so unhappy and anxious and worried about life and fearful, I wasn't taking any risks. I wasn't doing anything different or out of the ordinary, my ordinary life. So I wasn't getting satisfaction out of that. So I thought, okay, I'm going to go back to Leah, and I really started asking myself questions. What brings me joy? And the writing was what it was. So I started searching out ways that I could change my energy and my daily interactions with people. So through social media, I started finding groups that made me excited, writing groups or people who were entrepreneurs and starting to do things that I admired, and I would watch them. I totally changed the vibe on my, social media accounts, Facebook. And started following more positive people and reading. I started going to the library for myself, not just checking out books for my kids, but I really feel like I went to school and, gave myself another education through the things I was reading and learning. And that allowed me to start figuring out, okay, where do I go from here? So I'm home with the kids. My kids are upper elementary age, and they actually decided they wanted to go back to school. So here I was, this homeschool mom. I was teaching at a homeschool cottage school for kids. And then my kids come to me with, they want to go back to school. So that we allowed them to do that, and they went to school. So suddenly I had time, which was a new development, in my life. And I decided I was really going to use that to pour into myself, into my health, into my mental health, my physical health. And I just started writing. I joined an accountability group where we met every single day and talked about our business and the things we were doing, and, developed friendships. And I started going places and meeting new people. And it's totally changed my life and the trajectory of things.
That's profound, because very many people who want to grow have an urge to grow, but don't actually go and grow. Yeah, they don't, because they always have an excuse. I went to the library, but my kids needed me there. We had to keep them quiet. I don't know. I mean, it's hard, right? It is hard. I have 4 children of my own. I mean, they're all grown up right now, but you're still in that mother phase, right? Where your kids really love you. But the thing is, how much time can you carve out for yourself? I mean, we as women are nurturers. We're constantly thinking about everybody else. And then we put ourselves on the back burner. That becomes an ouch.
Right? Until we're burnt out.
And the thing is, then you say, oh my God, I didn't have a childhood, or I didn't have where did my 20s go, or I lost something in the middle, because you're so nurturing. And I love the fact that you decided, even though you are at the library, you decided to pour into you. I like that word, pour into you.
Pour into me. And I made it a priority. This is one of the things we work on, and I teach at the retreats, at the Glitter Bomb Retreats is the name of the company that I have, that the women come there, for the weekend, just to get out of their everyday life, have a weekend away where they can kind of start to think things through and have the space to start creating the life that they want. And the main priority is self-care. That's really what it comes down to, and moving yourself on the list, putting yourself on the list. And it's not some grand thing that happens overnight, like you just wake up one day and, all the problems are solved and you're happy. It's very small increments of change that you implement in your life to get you one step closer to that dream that you've decided you wanted. So it's very much about, I have a Glitter Bomb book that I have written, the Glitter Bomb Guide to Self-Care. And it takes you step by step of all the different categories in your life where you can start focusing and how to make those changes. How do I get more time? I'm a mother. I'm overwhelmed. I'm never caught up on laundry. How do I have time for me? Well, how about while you're doing your laundry, instead of sitting there watching reality TV or whatever Netflix special, you listen to an audio book that someone's recommended or you've really been wanting to read for a long time. Or if you're craving connections with friends, you don't get to have enough adult conversation. Maybe while you're washing the dishes, you can FaceTime with a friend you want to get caught up with, and you can both sit there and do chores together. We come up with practical things that people can implement in their life to start to find their way back to that happiness and the connection and whatever it is that the people decide that they want.
You bring up a good point. See, I have this habit of wearing my headset everywhere, and my kids make fun of me that it's a tracking device because I never leave home without it. And so when I'm driving or when I am, washing dishes or cooking, I'm always, if I have like you said, if I have a friend or somebody I need to talk to, or you call the government offices or you call the hospitals and you hold forever. And that's the best way to do it, right? Because then you're catching up on things you need to do. You're not just sitting there. So do the dishes or do your laundry or fold your laundry while you're doing something. And that's a good point. I mean, you and I think on the same ways, although I haven't written the book. So where can people find your book?
On Facebook, I have an author page, Leah Bomar, author. And there will be information there where they can buy it. I'm working on it now. It's launching in April. It's coming this April.
Oh, you haven't yet?
No, it hasn't been released yet.
It's coming. Okay. Oh, well, congratulations. Thank you so much for saying that.
Yeah, it came about. I've been hosting the retreats for a while, and, people would message me and they would say, we see what you were doing, or I would really love to attend the retreat, but I can't make it to Kentucky. Or, how can we work with you? How can, we do what you're doing? Because people have really seen, in the past year or so, my life totally start to change, that I'm happier, all these things that I'm doing, I'm going places, I'm going on trips to California, to conferences, and, I'm on Facebook talking with people all over the country and the world. So they say, how can we work with you and learn with you? So I started taking the experiences that I teach at the retreat and putting them in the book. So even if you can't come and spend the weekend with me, you can get the book and learn some of those lessons.
Okay, that's an awesome idea. So it's releasing in April, and what's the name?
Glitter Bomb Guide. It's the Glitter Bomb Guide for self-care, self-love and care.
And that's what we need. As women, we need that, right? We need some time to ourselves, some time to pamper us, right? How many times, we go places, we don't do stuff. This morning, I have this habit of just flipping channels. I was watching the Lucy show, and she buys a couch without Ricky knowing, right? And then he tells her that he's going to keep the couch at the studio, at the wherever he's working, at the cafe, or and she's going to have to pay him back. So then she makes a dress for herself, and she's trying to dye her hair herself. Now this is in black and white, so we don't know what the end result was. She was so engrossed in making the dress that she forgot that she had to wash her hair within 20 minutes, but it was on, the dye was on for 5 hours. And so the thing is, she was trying to save money, but she ruined her hair. So the point is, sometimes you just need that pampering. And then men sometimes don't understand why we do it, but we should do it because if we look good, they look good because we are arm candy, right?
Well, and we feel better. You feel better. That's one of the chapters in the book I talk about is Wonderful Wednesday. And it goes back to, being in high school, and we had this uniform implemented onto us as high school students. We hated it at the time because the girls had to wear dresses and pantyhose and like church clothes is what they called it. And the boys had to wear suit jackets and ties. But the whole premise behind it was that if you dress better, you feel better. So that had a huge impact on me. At that point in my life, I was experiencing some depression for the first time. My grandfather had died of cancer. I had another best friend who died in a car accident. So I was really at a low point in my life, and I'll never forget the feeling, even with my initial resistance of not wanting to dress up or wear those clothes, what it felt like to make myself presentable and, put care into myself and my appearance. So when I start to talk with women, lots of them mothers, they're just so frazzled. It's hard enough just to get through the morning and get your children ready, let alone yourself. So, makeup, earrings, that didn't exist. I called it mom slob. For many years, I was lived in mom slob gear, holes in it, my kids thrown up on it. And it affects you when you're walking around in the world. So in the book, I talk about how you can just start doing the smallest steps to make yourself feel better. So maybe for somebody, it's getting their nails painted, or maybe for someone else, it's getting a scarf out or an accessory they haven't worn forever, wearing lipstick. It doesn't matter what the thing is that you do, but it's about your intentions behind it and putting love into yourself just to start to feel better about yourself. And it doesn't have to be a big pampering thing, A lot of people think self-care and they immediately think, oh, I can't come to a retreat, or I don't have money to go get my nails done, or, I can't go to a spa. Sometimes self-care just means being intentional with yourself and the attention that you're giving. So another thing that I have done is started working with a natural holistic nurse who has come up with these oils and, concoctions specifically for needs that I wanted to address. And every night I do this new self-care routine, a skin routine, and I text her and let her know that I've done it. And sometimes I'm tired and I just want to get into bed, and I don't want to mess with the oils, and I don't want to do the things that I committed to do, for my own benefit. But because I'm consciously working on, something that I want, better skin or whatever it is, I follow through because I made that commitment to myself. So that's a big part of the self-care thing. It's not just all the fun stuff. It's also staying true to yourself. When you've said you want something and you're going after it, well, don't give up on yourself.
You bring a good point, because as women, and myself included, I don't apply makeup because to me that's a lot of work, right? But then when I go to places like the Macy's and I ask them, they look at my skin and they say, you don't need makeup, So now I don't know who to believe. But I had a friend a long time ago. She's still my friend. We've been friends for almost 40 years. And when we would go out, this was like when I was living in California, when we would go out, she would, take the time. I'm here. We got to go. Let's go grocery shopping. We're going grocery shopping. I'm going to pick you up. And she's there applying lipstick and, whatever. I'm like, we're going grocery shopping. And she goes, Munira, remember one thing. These things I do for me. Mm-hmm. It makes me feel good. She said those words. I never questioned her again. But as I have grown in my journey, I've realized that those words have never, she spoke the truth. You needed to look good. The culture in this country is that you can wear jeans and go. You can wear sweats and go. Back home, if you're going to a movie, people dress up. They dress up because they want to show off the outfits you have. Here, people don't care, right? And over there, if you are in your pajamas and a hoodie, people would look at you and say, is he crazy? Does he know what time it is? So cultures, okay? But that also means, we've we in America have moved away. And this was my point also with the Lucy show, is that whenever you saw her, when she made breakfast for Ricky, she was always dressed up. You know, the dresses were nice. I mean, she had those nice dresses and the hair was made up. She had pearls around her neck. But the thing is, she was always dressed up. And that reminds me of my mother when she was at that age. You know, we would see her dressed up and she wouldn't leave her bedroom without being dressed. Here, we've got to a tendency where we can wear a nightie and go down. It's okay, nobody's scared. You know, it's fine.
And it's easy. That's the easiest thing to do.
Yeah. So what you're saying is a lot of truth. I mean, we need to take that culture back where we are dressed up, we look good. I mean, we take so much pains if we have to go for an interview or we're going to a meeting. So why don't do it every day, right? So I like that. Thank you.
And it's what makes each person happy. I happen to be a person who loves fashion. Like, I like the accessories, I like the clothes. I just didn't have a lot of time to do it as a busy mom. And that was one of the things that I had really gotten away from. And it was wearing down on me. I didn't like the feeling of when you go out to the grocery store and you're like afraid you're going to run into somebody. And of course you like run into your ex-boyfriend or, you know, the person who you do not want to see the most. They're there. I didn't like that feeling of my kids having nicer clothes than I did, things not fitting properly. So for me, that was something that gave me power back and happiness back. For somebody else, it might be the exact opposite. You know, maybe a woman works in a career job and they have to dress up every single day and they have to wear the heels and the pantyhose and the, you know, outfits. So when they get a chance, they relish in laying around in their pajamas and, you know, run into the store in their hoodie with no makeup and their hair in a ball cap. And that's what makes them really happy. So I think it's just a personal thing for women to think about. You don't have to fit any certain kind of mold, whatever makes you happy. And it's some kind of intentional effort you're putting into yourself. At the retreats, when the women come, you know, I send a whole thing to them. You always ask, what do I pack? What do I bring? And it's a whole thing about, you could bring the sequined gown you have in the back of your closet that you haven't worn since prom. If that's what really makes you happy, and you can, you know, walk around in heels and a gown and take selfies all day if you want, or you can bring your flip-flops and a sundress that you never get to just lounge around in because you have to wear a uniform to work. So whatever really brings someone joy, like start to think about it and dream. You know, what did I used to like when I was a little kid? We look back and start to evaluate, you know, what makes people happy, because I think people lose that a lot too.
Well, you've said it. So now, is that part of the depression when they're not happy? So dressing up is one. What else is another way women can find joy?
So another main one is asking for help. So you realize, we start to do an evaluation, you think about the things in your life that really stress you out the most. And then we start to think, well, what can you do about it? How can you change it? How can you make it better? And one of those is, you know, you said earlier, talked about women being nurturers. You know, we're mothers, even if you don't have children, there's a lot of burden that falls on women's shoulders, you know, in our society. And part of it is, what can I give away and release that doesn't have to be my responsibility? So maybe it's having like one of those talks with your husband. I need help with the laundry, the food, the kids' homework. I'm lucky where I have support system of family that live by me. So, you know, my parents can take the kids and my husband and I can go have a date night, you know, something that we desperately need, you know, being able to reach out. Another thing that I did for, you know, the past year, even during the midst of me finding, you know, what makes me happy and starting my business. And, you know, I actually quit my teaching job just so I could start writing full time again and really pursuing this. So there was a lot of like stress and anxiety around that. So I decided, okay, I don't want to feel this way anymore. I don't like this, you know, resistance and these things that are going on, you know, panic attacks, you know, just real severe anxiety. So I found a counselor that I really liked. You know, I went out and got therapy and, found a person that could help me, as an art therapist. So all of a sudden now I'm doing art. That makes me super happy. That was not a path I anticipated or thought about. So I think when you're really in the overwhelm or the stressed out part of your life, it's okay to do an evaluation and start to think about how you can allow others to take some of that pressure off of you or just eliminate it. If it's something like a toxic friendship or toxic relationship, do what you have to do to start to feel better.
Makes sense. Yes. So look better, feel better, ask for help.
Yeah.
I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
No, the thing is, you've experienced these things. Most people find their niche because they've experienced it. And from that experience becomes a niche. So go ahead and, ladies and gentlemen, look up Leah. If you are overwhelmed and just need to talk to somebody, I'm sure she's going to lend an ear to you. And let's just talk, right? And feel better, because those little things is going to make a difference. She's not asking you to go spend a lot of money at a spa. I mean, if you have the money, go ahead and do it all the time. But start with little stuff, right?
Yeah, it costs no money to start feeling better.
A long time ago, I didn't know that Macy's would put makeup for you. So when you go on an off day, not on a weekend, they'll just start trying stuff on you and make you look good. You take pictures and the lipstick shades and everything. I mean, you don't have to buy everything, but they're doing it for you so you look good. And then if you feel good, you can go back buy stuff. So, I mean, even that is a way to feel good, because you are out and about with your girlfriends or your family and just sit there, and 10 minutes later, you come out like an extraordinary different person. You feel different.
You walk differently. You feel differently. Yeah, you can start using
because you want now to see.
There's so many free resources. People they don't think of the library, as much. We have a whole world of knowledge at our hands. So if there's something that you that makes you excited, that you want to go for, you can start researching things online. You can read articles. You can read, so many self-help type books. YouTube. I'll listen to Super Soul Sundays or certain podcasts that really get me into joy and gratitude. So it doesn't, it doesn't cost money to start feeling better.
You listen to, I'm sorry, we got cut off there.
So I'll listen to YouTube, like Super Soul Sunday episodes or different podcasts that make me feel better.
There you go. So there's so many things that you can do. So don't feel overwhelmed. Just find your niche, find that little place where it brings you joy, and then just doing it, because then you will have other ideas of how to get better, or what other things make you feel better, right? So just enjoy yourself. I thank you so much, Leah, for being on my show. I appreciate it. I am honored and humbled. And you know what, ladies and gentlemen, be joyful, right? Just be joyful, make yourself feel better, ask for help. If you need help, ask for it. There you go. Simple as that.
Beautiful. Thank you. Yeah.
Oh, wait. One more question. Where do they find you?
So you can go to Facebook / Leah Bomar is my page.
Okay. So, but here it says Leah Thompson. So on your...
Oh, on my Zoom, yeah. Yeah, so okay. It's Leah Bomar, yeah, B-O-M-A-R.
But you know what? After we are done, Leah is going to share her webpage. So if you guys want to contact her, go ahead and do that. And thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Over and out. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Munira's Musings with your host, Munira Zahabi. If you enjoyed our show, please share and subscribe to this channel. And for more content, please join our Facebook group called Navigate to Your Niche.